When you love this person and you focus on their strengths, then at some point you will even cease or stop seeing those limitations. Hello and welcome to my channel. I hope you're doing good. In case you're new here, my name is Charity Mugeni and I make videos on faith, family and self-improvement. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel up to now, please do, because I would really love to have you be part of this family. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about how can wives be of a positive influence to their husbands. You know, before I got married, I was one of the greatest opponent and critic of the subject of submission in marriage, because I used to think that submission meant saying yes to everything and letting your husband do the thinking for you. And I used to think that it also meant living in fear of your husband. But when I got married, I came to understand the subject of submission from different lenses. Looking at it from God's design in the Bible, I now understand that submission really means power of influence over your husband. So according to God's design, submission is meant to empower a woman to have good influence to her husband.
Wives, in the same way, be submissive to your husbands, so that if any of them do not believe the word, they may be won over without words, but by the behavior of their wives, when they see the purity and reverence of your lives.
Looking at that, we come to understand that in marriage, when we find ourselves in those situations where there are things that we would want our husband to change, then it means that we shouldn't use force or words to try and change them. But we need to allow the transformation to happen in them through our actions. So it's a command, and God who designed marriage knows that it works. For that reason, let us look at the how. Now let us look at the 4 ways in which we can have a positive influence to our husbands. Point number 1 is trust. We need to trust in our husbands. Just letting them know that we believe in them. That can really have a great impact on them, on how they look at themselves, on their self-image. You know, giving affirmation to your husband, it may not be his first love language. Maybe in the order of his love language, affirmation is not at the top of his priority. But it's something that you ought to do, because on a daily basis, our husbands, they experience a lot of things that attacks their self-worth on a daily basis. And the way men are made, they are not in the habit of praising each other, but instead they are always in the habit of daring each other to prove themselves. So therefore, it is your job as a wife to be there to give that affirmation or that admiration to your husband. So when we do that, we help them maintain a strong self-worth of themselves. And so that strong image It is like a fuel that helps them to keep on going and to face the challenges that they undergo in their day-to-day life. The second one is encouragement. We ought to encourage our husbands when they go through challenges, or when probably at the place of work they are going through an experience that breaks their spirits. We need to be there to give the encouragement that they need. Sometimes I know that it is very difficult for us to encourage others when ourselves we are feeling low, because as wives we are also humans and we feel crushed in our spirit sometimes, and we can be so low. But when we give that encouragement, we actually will find ourselves encouraged as well. So no matter what we are going through, we should not give up giving this support that they need, because we are meant to be helpers. So we need to help them during those difficult moments where they just need someone to encourage them. We need to give them the encouragement to help them go through those difficult moments that they might be going through. Then the third way of how we can be of a positive influence to our husbands is through accepting them. Accepting them just the way they are, with their weaknesses and with their strengths. Because it can be a very heavy load to carry on our hearts if we focus on their weaknesses in trying to change them or transform them to become who we want them to become. That is not our responsibility, but that responsibility belongs to God. But all we need to do as wives, we need to look at the things that they are good at and focus on those and tap into those strengths and use them to help build our marriages. Otherwise, focusing on weaknesses usually creates a lot of conflicts and creates a lot of dissatisfaction, because as a wife who is focusing on weaknesses, there is not one day that you will ever feel content. You will ever feel fulfilled, because in your mind you have set yourself to a specific image of who you want your husband to be like. But if you accept the husband that you have and appreciate the weaknesses that they have got and the strengths that they have got, and work with all that to improve and better your marriage, then you'll become more contented, and then your married life will become even more fulfilling. And you'll find that with the time, you will even stop seeing those weaknesses. Remember, the Bible tells us that love covers a multitude of sins. You realize that when you love this person and you focus on their strengths, then at some point you will even cease or stop seeing those limitations, because you will be focusing on what is good and you work with it to better your marriage. And that can really give you a very fulfilling relationship. Now, onto our last point. We need to pray for our husbands. No day in your life as a wife should you forget to pray for your husband. Remember, from just this previous point, I have told you that it is not our responsibility to change or to transform our husbands, but it is God's responsibility. I understand that it can be so difficult sometimes to just kneel down and pray for this person who probably has hurt you or has offended you in some way. But just breaking all the barriers of your pain and just allowing God to work through your situation can make a very big difference. Because when we pray for our husbands, we allow the power of God to work in our relationship, to work in our marriages, to work on our husbands, because it is not our duty. So no matter what you do, you can never change any limitations that your husband has. You can never do that transformation on your own. You need God to help you. That's why no matter how offended you are, you need to surrender and just be vulnerable to God and allow Him to come into your situation and minister to it. And for that, it will help you as you journey through your marriage. Just embracing submission as a powerful tool to help us be of a positive influence to our husbands and, of course, generally our marriages. If you are still watching this video up to now and you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do. Just take a second right now and press that subscription button and subscribe. And also remember to like the video, and you can also give a sweet comment right down below in the comment section. See you in the next one. Bye bye.